Hello and welcome. In this explainer, we're going to break down a really crucial topic for any growing nonprofit: compliance governance for its board. We'll get into why this is so much more than just a box-ticking exercise, especially when your organization starts to expand.
Now, this explainer is part of the Multi-State Fundraising Compliance series by Ironwood Registrations. It's a resource that's specifically designed to make all these complex compliance rules clear and, practical for nonprofit leaders like you.
Every nonprofit board has that fundamental duty to oversee legal and regulatory stuff. But a whole new challenge pops up as an organization grows, especially when your fundraising starts crossing state lines. It really makes you ask a critical question. Is your governance actually evolving as fast as your fundraising?
Okay, first things first, it's so important to get clear on the board's role here. We're talking about high-level governance. The goal isn't for board members to get tangled up in the weeds of daily administrative work, but to make sure the right systems are actually in place.
This table here lays out that distinction perfectly. On the left, you see the board's strategic role, making sure systems exist, asking those big-picture questions. And on the right, you have the staff's operational role, managing the filings, the deadlines. This separation is absolutely crucial. It keeps the board focused on risk and strategy, and it empowers the staff to handle the details. It's a partnership, for sure, but with very different jobs.
So this really gets to the heart of what we mean by governance oversight. See, it's not about board members doing the compliance work themselves. Not at all. It's about them making sure the organization has the systems and the controls in place to get that work done right.
So why is this distinction so critical? Well, because at its core, governance is all about managing risk and protecting the organization's hard-earned reputation.
So what's really at stake here if compliance isn't managed well from the top? The risks, well, they're pretty significant.
The fallout from non-compliance can be really serious. We're talking about delayed campaigns that hit your revenue, time-consuming inquiries from regulators, financial penalties, and maybe the most damaging of all, a hit to your organization's reputation. When a board really gets these risks, compliance becomes a natural part of the overall risk management strategy, right where it belongs.
Because at the end of the day, it all comes back to this. Compliance isn't just about following rules. It is the very foundation for maintaining the trust of your donors and the confidence of the public. And that is the lifeblood of any nonprofit.
Okay, so how can a board actually do this oversight role without micromanaging? Well, the key is asking the right high-level questions. Let's walk through a few really powerful examples. This first question is just fundamental. It directly connects your fundraising footprint with your compliance footprint. The whole goal here is to make sure your registration map matches your activity map. It's that simple.
The next question is all about financial growth. See, as your revenue goes up, a lot of states start imposing tougher reporting rules, like requiring audited financials. This is a critical trigger that the board absolutely needs to be aware of.
And finally, this question zeroes in on accountability and process. It's about confirming that someone clearly owns these compliance tasks and that there's a reliable system being used to manage them. Without that clarity, things can fall through the cracks so easily.
And all this brings us to a really vital point. Compliance is not a set it and forget it kind of thing. As your organization grows and your strategies change, your compliance duties are going to change right along with them.
Think of it like a chain reaction. It might start when you launch a new strategy, let's say a big national online campaign. That immediately triggers new obligations, like needing to register in a bunch of new states. And that, in turn, requires a formal compliance review to figure out the impact. This just shows how growth and compliance have to move forward hand in hand.
So, what does it look like when an organization really gets this right? Well, it's about building a true culture of accountability, where compliance is just baked into how things get done.
These are the hallmarks of a really strong compliance system. When you see documented procedures, clear roles, reliable tracking systems, close teamwork between finance and development, and regular updates going up to the board, that's when the board can have real confidence that these obligations are being managed effectively.
Ultimately, the payoff for all this is way more than just avoiding penalties. It comes down to this: effective governance supports transparency, donor trust, and long-term organizational stability. I mean, those are the absolute pillars of a healthy nonprofit, and strong compliance is what helps hold them up.
So we'll leave you with this one last thought to consider. As you're planning your next big campaign or your next strategic move, take a moment and ask your leadership team, is our compliance framework truly ready for what's next?